Okay, let's continue with the compound interest lesson. I want to just highlight this rule of 72. This is going to be for sure a test question. It's actually pretty useful. It's used for estimating. Now let's keep that in mind. It is not going to give you an actual answer, but it is used for estimating how long it takes to double your investment. So regardless of how much money you have, if you just want to know how long it's going to take to double. All right, and what you do is you take 72 divided by the interest rate. Okay, keep this formula. You might want to put it on your cheat sheet. We'll use that in a couple questions coming up. Okay, remember it's only for estimating. When we actually want to calculate, we're going to use the TVM solver on our calculator. Okay, now the TVM solver on your calculator is one of the apps. Okay, so you're going to have to find this on the calculator. Alright, so your calculator looks like this. If you look under apps, if you press apps, you're going to get a bunch of applications, and we're going to want finance, so I'll press 1. And TVM solver is 1. So you get this screen, and it has a whole bunch of little abbreviations there that we need to get used to using. Now, at first it's going to seem a little bit overwhelming, but trust me, this is actually a great program. Very, very useful. Okay? So I've written down what each of those things means. N is the number of payments. Okay, now that's the number of years times payments per year. Interest rate, interesting, it's going to be in percent, not a decimal. Present value, sometimes called principal. Payment is monthly payment. FV is future value. Payments per year, compounding periods per year. And usually this bottom one, we just leave it on end. Very rarely is it on begin. Okay, so the calculator displays either positive or negative values for these three categories. Negative usually means we're paying, and positive means we're getting. Okay, we'll do some examples where those show up. When we want to solve, we leave one of the spaces blank, and we're going to use alpha solve or alpha enter to solve. Okay, so let's try a couple of questions. So here, first of all, it says estimate the doubling time. So this is a rule of 72 question. If you remember the rule of 72, it's 72 divided by what's the interest rate? 8%. This is for Berta. Okay, and if you go 72 divided by 8%, you're going to get 9 years. It'll take 9 years to double. Chris, on the other hand, has a different interest rate, so he's going to go 72 divided by 9%, and this is 8. So obviously, Chris is going to double quicker because he's got a higher interest rate. Okay, verify your estimates by determining the double time. So now we're actually going to calculate it. And this is where it's going to take us a little while to get used to figuring this out. What do we put where? All right, let's piece this apart. First of all, we have invested 5,000. So this means we're going to pay 5,000. So your present value is 5,000. I'm putting the negative there because I'm paying it into this fund. Now when it comes out, when it's done, it's going to be positive. So that's important to understand. Okay, Berta's got 8%. All right, and that's the only, it says compounded annually. Now that seems to be the only information we've got. Well, what we want to know is how long does it take to double. So this means the doubling, we want to end up with 10,000. Okay, so this is double. All right, and we're supposed to have only one blank when we're done. Okay, so what are the other blanks? Well, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find out how long does it take to double. This is the one we don't know. How long? Okay, well, we're not going to make any payments, so payments per year, we're just going to put 1 here. And the reason we're putting 1 is because every year that initial amount is going to be reinvested. But we're not putting any new money in. Okay, and this will be end. And now we want to put that in the calculator. Okay, so we're going to leave n blank. N is going to be, our interest is I. This is going to be negative 5,000. Oops. payment 0, final value, we want 10,000. So there we've got everything filled in. Now I'm going to go up to N, so that's where the cursor is, and I'm going to press alpha, enter. And what does it say? 9.0006. Okay, 9.0006. What does this mean? It means it's going to take 9 years. We'll round off. 9 years to double. Okay, why don't you pause it there, and why don't you try to fill in what it's going to be for Chris? Everything should be the same, except for the interest rate. So let's go to here, and now we're just going to change this to 9. Go back up here and press alpha, enter. And you can see it's going to be 8.04, which we'll say is 8 years. Okay? Next one. Estimate the future value of an investment that earns 8% compounded annually for 3 different periods of time to see what happens to them. Okay, so estimate the future value of an investment. So 5,000 is what I'm investing. So it's going to be the same for each of these. Okay, 8%. It's the same for each of them. Compounded annually. That means once a year. Okay, and when it's an investment and we're not making any monthly payments, payment will be 0. Payments per year is 1. Okay, and we're supposed to figure out the final value. So this time we're putting in N. Now the first one is going to be 9. Why? Because it's 9 years. Now we could put 9 times 1 because it's 1 payment per year, right? These two are always kind of connected. But 9 times 1 is 9. This one's going to be 18, and this one's going to be 27. What we're going to do is figure out the final value for each. So let's put them in the calculator. Okay, so 9, 8%, it's 5,000 investment. This is, I don't know what this is. This is what we're going to try to find out. So let's go alpha, enter. Okay, $9,995.02. $9,995.02. By the way, your answer, if it's in dollars, should be in dollars. Okay. Now let's change this by going up to N. This time it's going to be Alright, my SmartView app is acting up, so I'll put the values in here. I think you could see what needed to be changed. Okay, and then we'll do the last one. Okay. So that's our introduction to the TVM solver. We're going to use it a lot in the next couple lessons. Make sure you try some of your homework, that you get used to using them. There is a compound interest formula that we may use once in a while, but usually you can use the TVM solver because it's a little bit better. Use your exact value. Don't try to round off too early. Only the final answer should be rounded off. Okay, the total compounding interest can be calculated by taking the final, by taking the final amount minus the principal. We'll use this formula, so you might want to highlight that. Rule of 72, again, you might want to highlight that. Okay, so we'll continue with this lesson tomorrow. your homework. So here's your homework for the last 2 lessons, for 1.3 on compound interest. Okay, if you want to go back a little bit to the first 2 lessons, at this point you should have also done the questions in the note packages. So page 6 and 7 and page 12 and 13 from the notes. Okay, so that's where we should be up till this point. If you have questions about any of those, make sure you ask them in class. Okay?